Texas to order. At this time, we will have our opening ceremonies. We have already had our prayer by Pastor James Clark. So we will now please stand and join us in the pledges, which Councilman Ford will be doing the pledges for both flags. And if you would like to,
Time for my history lesson.
your history lesson right here again.
So we all grew up saying the pledge, and most, if not all of us, say it wrong. Because in 1954, thanks to Joseph McCarthy, the words "one nation under God" were inserted into our pledge. And we always put that comma, "one nation under God," but it's actually "one nation under God." So as we say the pledge tonight, please don't put that comma. All right, if you'll face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't know you were getting a history lesson.
I learned every day. I learn something.
That's good. No, it's interesting.
All right, at this time, and we will have public comments. Anyone we've allowed to speak on any matter other than personnel matters or matters under litigation for a length of time not to exceed 3 minutes. No council board discussion or action may take place on the matter. So such item has been placed on the agenda and posted in accordance to the law. Doris, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
Amanda Kelly.
Okay. Please come forward, state your name and address.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm Amanda Kelly. I am the market manager for Tomball Farmers Market. My address is 19710 Rippling Brook Lane, Tomball, Texas, 77375. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come and talk to you guys today. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a brief update on what we have going on at Tomball Farmers Market. So we're really excited. We're moving into our 15th year here at Tomball. And our goal has always been to help our local farmers grow their businesses as well as bringing local goods to our community. So we have moved from 5 vendors in the grass lot to where we can reasonably manage 76 vendors every weekend. And we're obviously 9 to 1 every Saturday. I do have the ability to do up to 84 vendors, but that would require me to have some food trucks, which I've had trouble getting those. So it was brought to my attention by a couple of the city council members that we used to have really long wait lists. We'd have 80 to 90 people on our wait list. When I got hired 3 years ago, I changed that because it wasn't attainable for small businesses to grow in Tomball. So I made it where we could have fill-ins who could come at least 2 times a month, and I rotate those fill-ins. Therefore, we no longer have those big wait lists anymore. I do have a very small wait list in for some things, but mostly that has ended. Okay. So, and we just look to continue that growth because we maintain the 51% farmer to non-farmer ratio right this minute. I cannot grow the market any larger than up to the 84 people that we have on the lot right now. Okay. And that's just because we want everybody to grow. My goal again is to have everybody move into brick and mortars so that we continue to grow Tomball and have that small town atmosphere. Okay. So we hope to continue to work with the city, the fire department, police department, the EDC, and the chamber and you all to continue that partnership and continue that growth. We are also working with Precinct 4 in order to implement some community gardens, which hopefully we have that in September or October at this time. And we're really, really excited about that. We're also looking at a couple of scholarship programs for our children in the school district to encourage new people young people to want to be interested in farming and gardening and that kind of thing, because we're really getting a gap in that. So a couple of things, we do a survey every year to ask our community what it is that they need. And always the number one concern on there is parking. Parking is a big, huge problem, as we all well know, here in Tomball. So one of the number one requests that we get is they would like the ability to have handicap parking when they're at our market. Because of where the layouts are right now, it's at the front at 2920. So if we could maybe install some handicap spots there on Market Street in the lot, that would greatly help. We have a very large elderly population here, and being that we were ranked number 5th in the nation for places to retire, I think it's just prudent that I would like you all to consider that being a prudent thing to change, to add. There's also been we have some flooding issues. Anytime it rains in that lot, there are some pooling areas that really have been a problem. So I'd like you guys to consider that as well as you move forward with revamping the alleyways and things. Again, I thank you very, very much for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have at a later date. And as always, I'm really happy to be a part of Tomball. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anyone else who did not sign up who would like to speak for 3 minutes on any subject? Okay. If not, we'll close some public comments and receipts of petitions, reports and announcements. Swim season, it's beginning to slow down. City pool, end of sessions will be noon to 8 on August 20 to 21st. Open August 27th and 28th. September 3rd and 4th, and on September 5th. The pool will be open from 10 to 6 to close out the swim season. The 5th is Labor Day, and the pool will be open on that Monday. And that will be the end of swim season at our city park. We have September 11th, 9/11 21st anniversary remembrance. It's an event to remember the events of 9/11. It's and they'll be at the depot. There will be an event on posting the lights and the guard on Saturday night. And then on Sunday morning coincided on 9/11 to the times that the towers were hit. So look for more information for that and encourage you to come out. And it'll be before church. You can come there and then you can go to your 10 o'clock service. September 10th, second Saturday at the community center. September 17th, Groove Fest. September 24th, Fiesta de Tomball. October 4th is the 12th Annual Economic Outlook Luncheon sponsored by the TEDC, and it'll be held at the Beckendorf Center at Lone Star College. October 4th is National Night Out at the Depot. October 8th, second Saturday at the Depot. October 15th, the Big Show hosted by Tomball Rotary. There's always something going on in Tomball. So tell your friends. So we move on to reports by city staff. Sasha Smith, tell us about the cool things at the Tomball Kids Club, which were totally, how much was the wait? How many were on the waiting list for the kids club that we were not able to accommodate? Did you have a lot?
Hi, we actually did not have anybody in the wait list.
Oh,
We
good.
accommodated all the kids.
Yes.
Yes. Good evening, the council. I'm presenting about Tomball Kids Club. And we actually started registration back in May. Yeah, it was in May, and it filled it up pretty quickly. So one of the changes that we implemented this year is that we created an online form because we have received multiple complaints that people were not able to have access to printers to print out forms and fill them out. And that we were able to gather information online, and parents were able to do it from home. And we had a lot of people who signed up. So we had 98 kids who signed up, and most of them were from the families of 3-kid family. And more people kept coming in throughout the whole season. And we actually were able to accommodate them, partially because some families will go on vacations or they were given away to town, and somehow it worked out. So very grateful for that. And also thankful for the fact for our sponsors. So part of it was that our meals at first were provided by Houston Food Bank, and it honestly did not go that well because simply of the system of Houston Food Bank. It was hard to manage, and there are meals that had to be thrown away just because of that's how their program works. And many parents were upset about that. And honestly, it was just difficult to witness that because we had to administer that. So thanks to Megan and other city staff, we're able to find donors for the meals for the kids. And that's local businesses, Cisco's Salsa Company, the original Rip Tickler and Mel's Country Cafe. They came through, they brought 60 meals to each of the days of the kids club. And we're really grateful for them. So really great community supporters. And the meals were delicious. The kids loved them. So it worked out really well. Also, a great new partnership that occurred this summer was that Walmart helped us provide little lunches to go for the families and the kids so that they had little snacks, they had a piece of fruit, they had water in there. So that's something they could take with them for the day. And these are some of the highlights. And then here are just some of the pictures of the events. Sasha, you can just keep scrolling for them. And I'm just going to keep talking. So a little slower, yeah. Some of these pictures you'll see there, these are some of the activities that the kids had there. And some of them were educational, some of them were just fun, but they were enjoying it. We had a huge difference in the age. The kids club was designed for kids ages 3 to 12. And we had lots of littles, and some of the parents were bringing their little kids with them as well. So we try to do our best to accommodate all the ages, whether it was providing little bubble machine for the little ones, or PD was sweet to bring some stuffed animals as well. But our kids learned a lot. They learned about public safety, they learned about robotics, about train safety, about our library. And we ended the program with a huge play day, water play day, and the kids loved it. They didn't want to stop. We had cool bounce houses with water activities in them. So some of the highlights was that we had books that we could give away to kids based on their age, and they really loved it. We also asked the kids to prepare little book reports for prizes, and they loved that. They enjoyed it, and they competed. We were really grateful for the Explorers program, who were volunteering for the program, because my department of one person were short-staffed. So it was huge help to have them there, and they were incredible. And at the end, at our water play day, we provided drawstring backpacks filled with some school supplies so that kids could take it with them. Going forward, we're just planning to involve more of the community in the events, and plan a little bit earlier and provide more educational opportunities about what's going on in Tomball and not just general activities. We have a lot more families coming into Tomball, so it will be a great way for them to learn about the depot, about the history of Tomball, as well as get to know different departments from the city and local organizations as well. So it was a wonderful program.
Is that a skunk?
Yes.
That was a skunk's fur.
Oh, a skunk.
So she was teaching them about Texas wildlife. So she decided not to bring the animals there. She just brought display items.
Okay, well, I knew we had snakes. I didn't know we had skunks.
Yes.
Okay.
And
good.
snakes pee on people. That's just public record now.
Thank you,
Any
Sasha.
other questions?
We appreciate all the work that you and your team do. Thank you. Next item is approval of the minutes of August 1st, 2022, special city council meeting, and August 1st, 2022, regular city council meeting. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
I think we're electronic.
Are we voting?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Next item is old business. To adopt on second reading ordinance number 2022-16, an ordinance of the city of Tomball, Texas, amending chapter 50 zoning of the Tomball Code of Ordinances by granting a conditional use permit to allow an accessory residence within the general retail zoning district at 817 East Main, and the property being approximately 0.78 acres, being a portion of the Jesse Pruitt Survey, abstract number 629, located within the 700 to 800 block of East Main, containing findings and other provisions to the subject, providing a penalty and amount not to exceed 2,000 for violations thereof. I'd entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 2022-16.
Motion. Second.
Discussion. Okay, call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Item 2 and old business, adopt on second reading ordinance number 2022-17, ordinance of the city of Tomball authorizing the abandonment of public right-of-way dedicated to Welty Street, being a segment of the 30-foot wide public right-of-way extending approximately 295 linear feet northwest from the northernmost boundary right-of-way for Foster Street to the southernmost right-of-way boundary for Carroll Street. Wedged between block 90 and excuse me, and the western property line of restricted A in the final plat of the Episcopal Church of the Good Shepherd, providing for severability, providing for a penalty of an amount not to exceed 2,000 for each day of violation, provision thereof. I entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2022-17.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? Call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Item 3 under old business, adopt on second reading ordinance number 2022-26, an ordinance of the city of Tomball, Texas, authorizing and approving the calendar year 2022 annual service and assessment plan update for Raven Reserve Public Improvement District number 10. This is PID 10. I'll entertain a motion to approve the ordinance 2022-26.
Motion. Second.
Discussion?
This is the 30-year bid, correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir. This is updating this is the 2022 annual service update to the improvement area 1 that's required by state local government code.
Thank you, Megan.
Okay, call for the vote.
Motion carries 3 votes aye, 1 vote nay.
Okay. New business. Item 1, we are going to table until next council meeting based on the workshop that we had just had. So we will not be voting on the approval of TEDC budget tonight. We'll table that for the next meeting or after we have scheduled the second workshop to discuss, which will be soon. Item number 2. Approval on first reading resolution number 2022 TEDC. Kelly, you have several.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item and the following item are both rental incentive agreements. The first item is for Clear Hope Counseling and Wellness Center. This is a mental health and counseling facility. They do accept all major insurances, including Medicaid and Medicare, which when they looked at our market, they found that there was only one other facility within our area that offered those types of services and took health insurance. So exciting to kind of see that coming in. They are going to be located in a 1,250 square foot lease space in the Bank of America building. That's been rebranded as the Fields. It's a co-working space along with the Bank of America facility. Our rental assistance policy allows for up to 25% of the base monthly rent paid after the first full year of operation, after they have provided documentation that all rents have been paid, there are no liens or anything else on the property. The base monthly rent on this space is $2,291.67. The 25% of that is $6,875.
Okay. Need a motion to approve item 2022-37 TEDC, a resolution of the Council of City of Tomball authorizing and approving TEDC project to expend funds in accordance with the Economic Development Performance Agreement in the amount of $6,875 for 1431 Graham Drive, Suite 130.
Motion. Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Next item, Kelly.
Again, this is a rental incentive, and this is for a company called Della Casa Pasta. Della Casa Pasta has been in business since about 2011. They did start at our farmers market. So one of those kind of success stories of moving into brick and mortar. They have been growing like crazy, and they are in stores from here to Austin to Dallas. They've kind of merged in with our local businesses. And so they're selling some of their pasta and lasagna products in our local businesses as well. They are expanding. So they have a vacant space next to them that has been vacant for a couple of years. This is on Hicks Street. They're currently in about 2,400 square feet. The vacant space that they'll be expanding into is another 1,927 square feet. The rental incentive will only apply to that expansion area. Again, 25% of the base monthly rent that's paid after the first year of full operation. The proposed grant amount is $6,520.
Okay. Approve on entertain a motion to approve on first reading resolution 2022-38 of TEDC, City of Tomball, Economic Development Agreement to expend funds in accordance to Della Casa Pasta in the amount of $6,520.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, item number 4. Doris?
Angela Lutz is here to address council.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Angie Lutz, and I am an attorney at Allen Boone Humphreys Robinson. Many years ago, you did enter into a development agreement with Harris County number 273, a MUD actually, that is 100% commercial property. And so this is just a commercial MUD. There's no residential homes being developed there. And the plan at the time was to have a MUD and a management district on top of it, which then would manage all of the roads for the commercial district. This is for the New Quest properties. The law changed last legislative session where the TCEQ can now grant road powers to certain MUDs to get all, the MUD then has all of the powers as the same as in a legislative created MUD. And so we are asking council to consent for the MUD, Harris County number 273, to be able to have those road powers instead of the management district plus Harris County MUD 273. The management district would have the road powers and MUD 273 would have water, sewer, and drainage powers. That's probably very confusing, but I'm here to answer any questions. The development agreement that you entered into in 2015 did contemplate this and said that the district has the right to sell road bonds to construct, and the city shall consent to the district obtaining road powers if needed to construct or maintain those public roadways.
Okay, we probably will have questions.
Sure.
But for now, if you hang around. We'd like, next item on, now, do we need to take a motion to receive?
Motion to
petition and
receive
grant
the petition. and grant
Consent to the acquisition of road powers by Harris County MUD numbers 273 to facilitate construction of roads within the boundaries of the district. Have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Discussion. On your powers, that's taxing powers, correct?
That is correct.
All right, and this MUD is in the city limits of Tomball.
There is a portion that is inside the city limits of Tomball, correct?
So we have a taxable entity in the city limits under a MUD now with this road. Is any of this under the laws that it changed going to affect any of our tax rates since it's just commercial, not residential?
Correct. That's right. And we have to, the MUD has to take into account your tax rate. So they would have to, whatever tax rate the city chooses, including if you raised your tax rate, the MUD has to take that into account. So you're going to levy first, we would levy second.
Okay, so the amount of tax you can levy on these roads is based on what our tax rate, voted tax rate is?
We take that into account. We have to take into account your tax rate. Does that make sense? I have a $1.50 tax rate that I could levy on top of the MUD, and I have to subtract what the city's tax rate is from that $1.50.
Do you have any more information on that?
Part of this is if the management district continued in force, there would be 3 taxing entities: the management district, the MUD, and the city. By eliminating the management district, we eliminate that tax and that taxing entity. And it still follows the same process. The MUD develops the roads and they have to meet city requirements.
That is correct. You're eliminating a taxing entity here and giving that power to the MUD, so you don't have those 3 entities, like.
And
Ms.
in
Bear
order for
said.
you to raise that taxing entity to whatever you wanted, you would have to come before the city and get approval?
No, I have to take into account your tax rate, and by law, I cannot go above a $1.50 tax rate.
Okay. All right. Because I know it affects our bond issues. And that's why having MUDs inside the city on a residential area, it's not good, but on a commercial, this is just on commercial, so you're capped.
And we are a political subdivision of the state of Texas, so we would be issuing our own debt that does not impact the city's debt program.
Okay. Or our bond rate.
Correct. That is 100% correct.
Catherine? Okay, thank you. That's right. So any other questions?
No, I was going to ask the question you just answered. about
What's
the
our
impact on our
liabilities? Do we have any?
I would not say there's no liability. I mean, this entity is like you have heard from the PID discussion, this is a reimbursement mechanism. And so the developer in the MUD, in this case, has to put down all of the value in order for the MUD to then reimburse for water, sewer, drainage facilities, roads, indoor parks. And so they have to prove that the value is there, which in this case would also be in the city limits. So you're going to see some of that value increase with the commercial value there because you're also in the city limits, and we only can do a reimbursement mechanism where we only reimburse 10 to 1 usually.
It can never be changed to residential. Part of it could be residential or anything in the future.
There is only one portion that is inside the city limits, and it is agreed to in all of the development agreements that it is completely commercial. And I believe there's a development plan in your package of what that commercial development looks like.
Okay. Let's call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Next item on the agenda is item 5. It's to approve the resolution number 2022-27. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Tomball authorizing and creating the Seven Oaks.
I think we
I was
skipped
told-
one.
Did I skip one?
Yeah.
Number 5.
Oh, sorry. I'm in the other.
You're in a hurry.
Yeah. How could you tell?
There's not even a football game on.
Okay, conduct the public hearing. Yeah, I kind of skipped over that, sorry. Resolution number 5, we conduct a public hearing of the City Council of the City of Tomball to consider the advisability of the creation of a public improvement district to make certain improvements and over certain property located within the city. Proposed public improvement district, PID number 14 Seven Oaks.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item is to conduct the public hearing for the creation of the Seven Oaks Public Improvement District based on the revised PID petition that was received in July from HMH Tomball Townhomes. On July 18th, Council did adopt Resolution 2235 that accepted the petition and called for this public hearing. So we did go ahead and do the presentation just to kind of recap on the development. I just said all of that one, sorry. So Seven Oaks was approved through a plan development number 17 of June of 2021 by ordinance. It only established that they were going to build the single family attached townhomes. It set the design standards as well as the parking through the alleys or to access the driveways through the alleys, but it did not provide any additional provisions for additional amenities. This development is 19.34 acres located on Holdreath Road. We'll have about 141 townhomes. The developer is seeking a reimbursement bond PID to offset the 33% increase to the development cost that's incurred. Concept plan for that one. So based on our PID policy that was approved in March, the petition does not meet our minimum requirements of 50 acres for a debt PID since it is only 19.34 acres. However, the petition does offer a special or unique benefit to the community by offering amenities that are above standard and that are currently not offered in other developments. Those unique or special benefits include the fenced park area with the parking, dedicated parking, has a large play structure with the covered pavilion, as well as amenities such as barbecue pit, picnic tables, the amenity pond with the fountain, which I apologize, I don't have that on the concept plan. We'll have a walking trail around it with shade trees, and we'll have picnic bench or park benches and exercise equipment. They'll also do the upgraded fencing and landscaping throughout the development. So staff and bond counsel have worked with the developer to outline the terms and conditions of the PID. If the PID were approved, it would be a reimbursement debt PID with a not to exceed amount of $9 million for a 30-year term and a tax equivalent rate not to exceed 72 cents. From the previous workshop that we did, this equivalent tax rate is much lower than our other debt PIDs. Bonds will be sold at 50% completion of homes with certificate of occupancies issued. That means all infrastructure will be in and 50% of those homes built before we will even consider selling their bonds. The developer will be required to install all the amenities as well. So based on the submitted petition request for the reimbursement debt PID, staff is recommending council consideration for the creation of Public Improvement District 14. If you have any questions, the developer is present as well as all of our bond counsel.
Okay. Probably after our public hearing. It is now 7:40 p.m. We're opening the public hearing. Doris, is there anyone here that signed up to speak? Pardon? It's 7:40. That's not what I said, 7:40?
I got 7:19.
7:19.
It's later than you think.
I'm going by my computer. I have no one signed up to speak.
This is early in the agenda. It's going to get worse. Okay. All right, so there's no one here to speak. Is there anyone who didn't sign up who would like to speak? Okay, now we are closing the public hearing at 7:20. All right. Item number 5 is to approve a resolution of 2022-27 City of Tomball authorizing creating the Seven Oaks Public Improvement District in the City of Tomball, in accordance with Chapter 372 of the Texas Local Government Code, providing for related matters and providing. And Megan has already spoke on that. Is there more that you would like to say, or just come up to answer questions after we have our motions?
Yes, ma'am. No more, nothing else from us unless there are questions.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve resolution 2022-27?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Maybe go first, won't you?
Okay,
I got a question. When they did the presentation on PIDs, they were talking about all the amenities they were going to put in.
Mhm.
So the playground is what you're considered the amenity, not a swimming pool, not anything like that.
So for this one, there is not a swimming pool. This one instead is going to have a very large play structure. It is actually from one of the same vendors that we use for our city parks. They will have a pavilion and barbecue pits. So it's basically making their own park inside of that subdivision, which will be a public amenity as well. And then with the walking trail, you will have the addition of the exercise equipment. That is not something that another development
Where is
has.
the exercise equipment?
Exercise, it's gonna be exercise stations. I don't have the, do you have the?
So
copy?
it doesn't have a, room, or what do you want to call it?
No, sir. They're going to be exercise stations located along the walking trail, similar to what we have at Broussard Park.
They're designed for outdoor.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Did I do the calculation wrong? Because this equates to about $64,000 per unit. On a $9 million assessment. And 141 units.
Would the applicant like to come up and address some of these questions?
Over 30 years.
But over 30, it's still $64,000.
The question is based on, it's the PID cost over 30 years? Is that your question?
If I understood this right, that the assessment would be up to $9 million for a 141 unit townhouse project.
So Mayor, Council, again, John Snyder with P3. The PID petition requires the estimated cost of the improvements, which is the $9 million listed. We haven't run all the numbers on this one yet because y'all haven't approved moving forward on it, but I'd highly doubt that they would have $63,000 in assessments. The cost of the improvements is $9,000. They would get a portion back with the PID, the rest would be funded by the developer. But all those would be brought back to you. So if y'all decide to move forward with this project and created the PID, you're simply drawing the boundary. Then we all go to work, the whole team that y'all heard from. We go run all the numbers, come back and say, here's the requested assessment amount for the developer, and it works out to X thousands of dollars per unit, which is a 50 cent or 70 cent equivalent tax rate, and then y'all make the decision
But at
again.
that point in time, we've already approved it, and there's not a lot we can do to unapprove it.
No, so you've approved, if you move forward tonight, you would approve the creation of the PID, but there would be no assessments on the land. So you could elect to not move forward with levying assessments, or say we're not comfortable with the level that's proposed, but you would have a separate vote on the levy of assessments, and you have another separate vote on the issuance of bonds.
Any other discussions? Okay, let's call for the vote.
Motion carries 3 votes aye, 1 vote nay.
Next item, Megan?
Yes, ma'am. After passing the previous item, resolution 2022-35 is to approve the development agreement relating to the Seven Oaks Public Improvement District for Tomball, or for HMH Tomball Townhomes, and authorize the city manager to execute. The development agreement is needed to outline the terms, conditions, and agreement of the approved PID.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution number 2022-35, resolution of City of Council of Tomball approving a development agreement related to the Seven Oaks Public Improvement District.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, let's call for the vote.
Motion carries 3 votes aye, 1 vote nay.
Next item on the agenda is to approve professional service agreement for expenses incurred relating to the Seven Oaks PID 14 and authorizing the city manager to execute. Megan?
Yes, ma'am. This item is to approve the professional services agreement between the city and HMH Tomball Townhomes and authorize the city manager to execute. The professional services agreement will be used to cover the incurred expenses for our bond counsel that you've seen a few times tonight. This will be, we receive the bills and then we pay it on behalf of the developer to ensure that all bills are paid.
Entertain a motion
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Call for the vote.
Motion carries 3 votes aye, 1 vote nay.
Next item 9. Correct? 9.
Yes.
Conduct public hearing of the city council of Tomball to consider proposed assessments against Pine Trails in the city of Tomball, Public Improvement District number 13, established by the city council under resolution 2021-25. Megan?
Public Improvement District 13 was established in September of 2021 by Resolution 2021-25 with Classic Neighborhood. The PID was for a cash PID with a total petition amount of $2,650,000 with the tax rate equivalent not to exceed 75 cents. As of today, the utility infrastructure is nearing completion with other improvements approved and pending construction. Based on the progress, it has been recommended by our bond council, or I'm sorry, by our council, that a service and assessment plan and assessment rule should be approved in order to levy each lot. Pine Trails is a 13.38 acre development located on Liberty Lane for development of 50 single-family homes. Pine Trails was originally approved as a plan development number 16 in April of 2021. The original approved plan development requirements as presented to council included landscaped and open space park reserve in the neighborhood, each lot to be fully landscaped with either trees, plants, or otherwise covered with Bermuda grass. Each lot required to have at least one mature tree or one 3.5-inch caliper shade tree planted in the front yard and adhere to the approved plant list that was included in the plan development. When the plan development was approved by council, there were additional provisions that were added to the plan development to include 7-foot screening wall or fence to be installed along the rear property line for properties along the western boundary of the development. Properties along the western boundary of the development. Sorry. Thank you. Shall be limited to 1-story structures. A minimum of 1 shade tree or screening shrub should be planted on the rear yards of properties along the western boundary. The levy assessment for each property in the development has been calculated at $3,263.40 for annual payments. To answer any questions in regards to the SAP or the levy assessment, Scott Bean with Haas Hills is available.
All right, after we have our public approval, our public hearing. It is now 7:30 p.m. and we're opening the public hearing. Doris, is there anyone signed up?
I have no one signed up.
Okay. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this public hearing that has not signed up? Okay. Okay, it is now 7:31 p.m. and we're closing the public hearing. Okay, next item on the agenda is to adopt on first reading. Adopt on first reading ordinance number 2022-27. I will entertain a motion to read by caption only on first reading ordinance 2022-27.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Call for the vote. This is for reading only.
Motion carries unanimously. Ordinance number 2022-27, an ordinance of the City Council of Tomball, Texas, approving the service and assessment plan for the City of Tomball Public Improvement District number 13, Pine Trail subdivision.
Call for the vote. Oh no. Now we're going to entertain a motion to adopt the ordinance number 2022-27 on first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Megan, did you say in your presentation that this was on Liberty Lane? This is not the one that's on Liberty Lane.
Behind it, yes.
Correct.
Sorry.
Okay, again, Megan, what is the amenities they're putting in here besides just roads and substructure?
This one, the only amenity that's required is the park and the open space dedication.
I don't remember seeing a park in there. was that? I remember seeing a tree, I think, or something like that. but I remember seeing a park.
This one, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not very familiar with this
Okay.
one as far as I know what the plan development states, and the plan development requires that a park be. So we can definitely check into it.
I think you had it listed in your presentation.
Yes.
Yes, it says park, no, I mean,
Can you go back to that? Maybe answer his question.
my park's different, your park. Y'all found that out already.
Park and recreation.
That's all it says.
It's gonna be an open space park. So it won't have any play structures, it would just be a dedicated open space, so probably walking trails, things like that.
Okay. We have a motion, second discussion, call for the vote.
Motion carries 3 votes aye, 1 vote nay.
Make it next item.
Yes, ma'am. This item is the first reading for ordinance number 2022-28, and this will be the levying the assessment for the Public Improvement District 13 Pine Trail subdivision. So it does go with a portion of the public hearing.
I entertain a motion to read by caption only on first reading ordinance number 2022-28.
Motion.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Motion carries 3 votes aye, 1 vote nay. Ordinance number 2022-28, an ordinance of the City Council of Tomball, Texas, levying the assessment against properties within the City of Tomball Public Improvement District 13, Pine Trail subdivision.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 2022-28 on first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Did I miss something? Wish we could bond all these together. and just do a mass-
Consent agenda.
It's consent agenda. It's our new stuff though. Consent agenda is for old. Okay. All right. Any discussion? Okay, call for the vote.
We're an hour late.
Motion carries 3 votes aye, 1 vote nay.
Okay. Next item. Next item on the agenda is to approve resolution 2022-34, resolution City of Tomball. City Council accepting the preliminary service and assessment plan for authorized improvements within the Rayburn Reserve Public Improvement District, setting a date for the public hearing on the proposed levy of assessments, authorizing the publication and mailing of notice, and enacting other provisions thereof. Make it.
Mayor and council, this item is to accept the preliminary service and assessment plan for Rayburn Reserve Public Improvement District 10 for Improvement Area 2 and call for the public hearing on September the 19th. Public Improvement District 10 was established in October 2019 by Resolution 2019-41. The PID was amended in December of 2020 to add additional land to the development. The PID was created as a debt PID with a total petition amount of $15 million. As of today, Section 1 infrastructure has been completed and accepted by the city with homes constructed, and Section 2 is currently in progress. The Rayburn Reserve development is 103.7 acres for approximately to be developed with approximately 347 single-family homes. The PID petition, again, was a 30-year term with a tax rate equivalent not to exceed 96 cents per $100 assessed value. Required amenities included park and recreational facilities, including a swimming pool, playground, shade structures, and picnic facilities. Landscaping requirements of 1 tree in the front yard setback and side yard setback with a 2-inch caliper and a 6-foot height minimum. The recreational amenities were a part of section 1. The service and assessment plan for improvement area 1 was adopted in September of 2021 and was updated recently this meeting as required by Texas local government code. Revenue bonds for improvement area 1 were sold in September of 2020 totaling $2,490,000. Tonight, the preliminary SAP is being presented as resolution number 2022-34. Revenue bonds are pending to be sold at the beginning of October for a total issuance of $3,873,000. Staff recommends adopting the preliminary service and assessment plan and calling for the public hearing.
I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 2022-34.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, let's call for the vote.
Motion to approve the resolution and set the public hearing date for September 19th, 2022. Carries 3 votes aye, 1 vote nay.
Thank you.
Item 15. Do we need a 5-minute break?
You're on a roll, Mayor. Keep it up.
Okay. I'm just asking. I don't want people just to disappear in the middle of the vote.
Hey, you
so.
you got about 23 more minutes before we need a 5-minute break.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. We are item number 12. No, 13. Sorry. Consideration to approve zoning case P22-222, request from Delisa Kick to amend chapter 50 of the Tomball Code of Ordinance by rezoning approximately 0.4 acres of land legally described as being all of lot 1112 and the north 1/2 of lot 10 in block 2 of Main Street, addition from single-family residential to Old Town mixed use. The property is located at 201 Holdrege Boulevard within the city of Tomball. Nathan.
Mayor Council, Nathan Dietrich with the Community Development Department. So we have a rezoning before you today. It is located in the hatch, the yellow hatched area, located at the corner of Arnold and Holdrege Boulevard. As you can see, the subject property is on the left-hand side. It's currently existing as a single-family residential lot. This is taken from Holdrege Boulevard looking due east. Neighboring property to the west is also a single-family residential property. And then to the north west is the other neighboring property, which happens to be kind of a neighborhood commercial, light industrial area. Skeleton Electronics is in there. And if you the other neighboring property to the south is also single-family residential existing. Neighboring property to the north, again, single family, and the neighboring property to the east is vacant at this present time. You'll notice that this whole neighborhood is peppered with not only single-family residential properties, but also there is some small neighborhood commercial properties that are located. There's a lawyer's office. There is, if you go further down Holdrege Boulevard on the western side, there's a medical office building there also. So this is the current zoning. The current zoning is SF6. As you can see to the north, it's also SF6. To the west, it is Old Town mixed use. To the south is a commercial property, and then also to the east is single-family residential. This area seems to be what it shows staff, and around it is that this is a neighborhood in transition. It looks like this. Oops, I'm sorry, thank you. The future land use plan in this particular area is deemed to be neighborhood commercial. Neighborhood commercial in this particular location is on the future land use plan is a category intended for commercial uses that are developed with the appropriate context, style, scale, and design to complement residential development, such as land use should be located in a close proximity to neighborhoods and residential land uses. In this particular case, the owners are wanting to have an opportunity to further market their property. It doesn't necessarily mean that this will ultimately change to commercial. Could stay as single-family residential with being zoned Old Town mixed use until either these residents decide to change it to commercial, and which is limited in its scale and mass, but they also could change it to any of the uses that are located in Old Town mixed use. As you can see on the notification map, this would show if there was any neighbors that were notified that were either in favor or opposed, and we didn't receive any responses at this particular time. And city staff would, as part of this, believes that the request to rezone this Old Town mixed use is in alignment with the intent of the future land use category of the neighborhood commercial identified on the future land use plan. And according to the ordinance, OTMU is intended to prompt and promote a mixture of retail, commercial, and other non-residential uses, along with single-family homes and multifamily uses. The city's comprehensive plan endorses the continuation of the mixture of the uses in this area. The zone change request will promote the comprehensive plan's objective and encouraging development of mixture of land uses within a walkable environment. According to the comp plan, locating limited commercial services within the near and existing neighborhoods has potential to create mutually beneficial synergies and a higher quality of life. And as you can see, city staff recommended approving this zoning case, and along with the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously voted to approve it as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. And I know the applicant is here also if you have any questions.
Okay. Well, next item though is the public hearing on this, correct? Yes. And then we can
Yes.
That's correct.
go after our public hearing, then there may be
Yes, ma'am.
questions for the applicant.
Yeah.
It is now 7:44 PM. And we are opening the public hearing. Doris, or anyone signed up to speak?
I have no one signed up to speak.
Okay. And if no one is signed up to speak, it is 7:45 and we are closing the public hearing. I will entertain a motion to read by caption only on first reading number 22/22/19.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously. Ordinance number 2022-19, an ordinance of the city of Tomball, Texas, amending chapter 50 zoning of the Tomball Code of Ordinances by changing the zoning district classification of approximately 0.40 acres of land legally described as being all of lots 11, 12, and the north half of lot 10 and block 2 of Main Street addition from single-family residential SF6 to Old Town and mixed use, OT and MU. The property is located at 201 Holdreath Boulevard, providing for severability, providing for a penalty of an amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of violation of any provision hereof, making findings of fact and providing for other related matters.
I will entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 2022-19 on first reading.
Motion. Second.
Okay, discussion.
Is that the correct number? Because it's zoning case P 22-222 and then it's
Yeah.
22-19.
Because it calls for a public hearing of 22-222, but then our ordinance was
Is that all?
2022-19.
Correct?
Mhm.
Okay. I just trust her. I just
I
read the
will.
At
numbers.
the,
Trust but verify.
Right.
I'm not against this. It's just, it was brought to my attention at P and Z by Mary Whitaker that she had tried to do this same thing a few years before this, and the city turned her down. And she wouldn't get up and talk. She said, I'm too mad to get up and talk. But she's not here, I don't believe. But she had the house right across from this. Does anybody know why it was turned down a few years ago? So I can go back and explain to her.
I do not.
Okay.
Because the property, if it's across Holdreth, is mixed use now.
Go right,
Right.
and she owns the home and she said she asked to get it changed and it failed. Now I'll talk to Mary again. That's just what she said that night.
I mean, I do not know, Dave.
Okay, well, if y'all don't know, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it, but I just wanted to know so I can explain to her.
It was an office building that she had. It was Travis Whitaker's office.
I mean, me personally, I feel as though we're trying to use Old Town mixed use to turn residential into commercial. And just a few weeks ago, we had an applicant come in on Market Street, wanted to basically do the same thing, and we voted it down. Because the residents in that area told us they wanted those places to stay single family residential.
But now to go to commercials, they would have to come back in front of us with mixed use, right?
Nope.
No, so what would happen here is that it would change to Old Town mixed use as the
Right.
zoning district, right? But that zoning district from an intensity side of things is a lesser intense zoning district than a general retail or a commercial. And so you're only limited to do a certain amount of commercial items that you could do in this particular location. And so I would tend to agree is that I think the difference between that case that was brought up back on James Street, which is just outside, I'm sorry, our administration building down there, is that this is on the periphery of where there is a lot more commercial that's happening in this particular vicinity. And so in this particular case, I think even though that the uses are going to be, or that are currently single family residential, we can see that how that commercial use has a potential to happen in this area, and that can blend nicely. If you just go down one additional block, there is an attorney's office that kind of kept the same character and viewing of what the single family residential house looks like, but it is a commercial business.
No, I don't disagree with you, Nathan, but you do have to draw a line somewhere.
Understood.
And I just feel as though the line is drawn already. I'm not going to move it over one street and make the residential area even that much smaller. And, you know, a lot of the places that you showed that are already commercial in those were grandfathered after zoning was implemented because they were already turned into those type of businesses. So they didn't come before council for us to vote on.
I see.
They were already grandfathered. And I know you probably don't know that since you weren't here then.
Understood. Yeah.
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say is that some of the other things that are happening within that area, you can notice, and I might be able to, if we could, Sasha, would you be able to bring up our interactive map? I might be able to see, you might be able to see a little bit bigger of a picture here, but there are a number of the lots in the vicinity immediately to the east of the property. There shows in this picture on the aerial imagery that there was a home there, but I believe that home has been since removed and is a vacant parcel. And then down at the bottom of that same block, there is a vacant parcel that's there. If we could go, do you want, yeah.
I mean, the house that you showed on Vernon that's no longer there is probably, if I'm not mistaken, the one that was set on fire by the resident at the time that was living there and died in the one that exploded and died in the hole.
So you can see this is the house or the property in question that we're speaking of right now, where my cursor is. This is across the street is already and down the block. has already been rezoned to OTMU. Same with a lot of these parcels in the back here. And it is, just as we had talked about, this area right here is general retail, which is just at the bottom of the block. You see Barbara, these two pieces, and this is the portion, I think, Councilman Stoll, what you might be talking about is my grandfather David. And then there's some other, here's the school right here. So yeah, again, from staff's perspective, it does fall in line with some of the other uses that are in the immediate vicinity. And so that's why we rejected it. But again, I think this is one of those ones where it is an area in transition with some of the other impacts that have happened in the recent past with these other rezoning. It does fit and seems to be in alignment with what's going on. And again, the homeowner is here, the applicant. I'm assuming we have to answer any questions.
I mean, to me, the hard line on that, looking at it now, and this map's very helpful, is Vernon, I think.
I don't disagree, John.
I think that's the line that says we're not gonna take that mixed use further east.
Except,
Yeah.
This street right here.
except those two lots right there are the entrance to the residential area of Barber Street. And the residents have fought very hard with petitions, keeping those non-commercial and non-business to protect their subdivision. And that's why those two right there are still residential.
Which one are you talking about? Ma'am?
The one that it's on right now. See that little curve
Okay.
thing is, it's all residential in there. That one right there. And I think the one right above it. Across from, is that Holdridge?
This is. Holdridge
No, that's
right here,
Barbara. That's
and this is Barbara right
right. But that one on the other side of Barbara that kind of faces the school.
here. Over here.
No, that's all
Yeah.
residential,
Go up Vernon.
right there.
Oh, right here.
That one and then the one right by Barbara Street. They fought very hard to keep that not commercial because that's their main entrance into that residential area.
Yeah,
It's an
so-
old historical residential area.
So that's not really an alley back there, but I mean, you could even make that your hard line, that.
Talking about
The
where the
alleys,
arrow is.
Yeah,
right
where
now.
the arrow is
Yeah, that
now,
makes sense. Make that the hard line. Is that
and
something-
just, come down.
well, but that to the left is residential.
Right.
And to the right, that protects to the right of residential.
Mhm. What I'm saying.
And then it goes on into mixed use after that.
So
Attorneys.
But with the OTMU, residential use is allowed.
Is allowed.
As a right.
And that's,
So residential use can stay there as long as they want to stay there. It can be sold as a residential use,
And not
but it also could be used
down below
if
Barbara.
they
Well,
wanted to.
They have, every time there's been something on those two lots, we have petitions to protect, because that's their entrance into their subdivision. And I understand that. Okay. Any other questions, or would you like the applicant to come up and speak?
Sure.
Okay, if the applicant like to come and speak, if you'd state your name and address.
Hello, I'm the business owner of the property there. And I have no intention to do anything with the property.
Oh,
other
ma'am, I
than-
need your address, your home address.
Okay, it's 201 Holdridge.
Okay, so you live there, okay.
Yes. I don't have any intentions on doing anything with the property other than selling it soon. And I was advised by a realtor that this would make it more marketable to a wider range of buyers. Other than that, that's, just taking the realtor's advice and giving this a go. I'll answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions?
I'll ask one question. Would you buy it if a commercial business was across the street from you?
A commercial business is across the street from me.
Okay.
And this has been my family home since it was built. I have a CVS less than a block away. I have a school, and one block down, I've got all kinds of offices that look like houses,
Right.
but they are all businesses.
And those are grandfathered before zoning.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm just telling you where I am.
Right.
starting to look like this is the way the neighborhood's going.
Okay.
And I guess that's why the realtor advised me to go ahead and get a mixed use zoning so that whoever buys the house can decide what they want to do.
And what business is across from you?
It's that computer office.
Yeah, Nathan, can you put the
Skeleton?
cursor on the,
I guess it's a little bit catty-corner.
Yeah, Skeleton's a little.
can you put the
further up.
cursor on the property again, Nathan? Thank you.
Skeleton's up near Main.
Yeah. But I walk out my front door. I can
The
easily see
cardiologist
it.
has a lot of those.
So it's that,
houses.
where's the property? Which one?
Skeleton,
Where's her property?
Where's
That's
her
the-
property?
Because the very top one up there by CVS, keep going up, right there, that guy came in a couple of years ago and tried to get that turned over so he can make where he had the garage behind it. That's commercial. He came to y'all trying to get it changed into where he could park his vehicles there, and it was turned down.
he was trying to change it to like further commercial or general
Yeah,
retail. or
and
something like
it didn't
that.
make it.
He had the garage, he has the garage,
He's
the
got a
mechanic's
garage, but he
garage on the
uses-
back side of it.
Oh, I
And he
see.
wanted to be able to park vehicles back there before he went to work on them. And it was denied.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone.
And so that's the property across the street that we're talking about, your property.
Yes,
Right
yeah.
there,
I
right.
walk out my front door, I can see that commercial building right
Well,
where he's pointing.
yeah. So her property is,
Catty corner.
stop, right there. Okay.
I thought there was another house in that block that is mixed use that has some type of office in it. Am I mistaken?
I think this is the one.
Is that the one?
Yeah. There's one at this corner. There's a very large oak tree that.
Yeah,
looks
okay.
Like on the front lawn, but it's kind of like kind of an asphalt concrete mix that looks like the parking lot.
Yes, okay.
Is that an attorney office or was it?
I think the one beside is the attorney's office. I
Yeah.
forget what this one is.
It's some kind of billing office or
Billing
something.
office for the cardiologist across the street.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, let's call for the vote.
Motion carries, 3 votes aye, 1 vote nay.
Next item, 14, consideration to improve zoning case 2226, request from Maple Group. Represented by Cross Engineering to amend chapter 50 of the Tomball Code of Ordinance by rezoning 25.87 acres of land legally described as Reserve A and Maple Group subdivision from planned development 8 to commercial. Property is located at the northeast corner of the intersection of Holdrege and State Highway 249. Nathan?
Mayor, Council, Nathan with the Community Development Department. As you can see in this image that's hatched in the yellow, the corner of Holdrege and 249, there's been a request to change from planned development 8 to back to commercial. Originally, this parcel was originally commercial zoning district before it was adopted as a PD back a number of years ago. And since then, the PD has there's been no movement forward on that. And from what we understand, there is no want to develop it. It was a multifamily development that was surrounded on the frontage roads with commercial. And now the applicant's wanting to develop a big box retail store. Immediately north is into the northeast is a site for single family residential, which is a Woodleaf Reserve PID that we just talked about earlier today. East of it is a vacant building. Northwest of it is existing commercial land uses, office and material storage yard, and the southwest is existing retail uses. As you can see on these photographs taken, one is at the corner on the left-hand side at Holderreath and 249 looking north. And then the other one is taken on 249, again, looking to the northeast. So you can see it currently is a vacant property. Yeah. And again, here's some other surrounding photos. You can kind of get an idea, but this is a fairly visible piece of property that is going to be utilized for commercial purposes along 249. As you can see, this is currently zoned for as a planned development, and you have commercial that is immediately adjacent on the north and on the eastern sides. The future land use plan is called out as for corridor commercial, which is a category intended for predominantly non-residential uses along high traffic regionally serving thoroughfares, which is both Holderreath and 249. According to the comp plan, the requested commercial zoning is an appropriate compatible zoning district for the commercial corridor land use category, as well as office, general retail, mixed use, or multifamily or other PDs. As you can see here, the public notification map, there was one person who was the owner of the property who wrote to us in favor of this request. And we have no other opposition in the area. Again, at city staff recommended due to the fact that it was in line with the future land use plan and it made sense for this particular location due to the presentation that I made. And in doing so, planning and zoning also recommended unanimously to vote to approve this zoning change. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. Now, though, we're going to have a public hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
So on the agenda is to conduct a public hearing for case, and this is zoning case P 22-226. It is now 8:03. Doris, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this?
No one signed up.
Okay, is there anyone who isn't signed up that would like to speak? Please come forward, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Terrific. Good evening. My name is Michael. Excuse me one sec. Been sitting there too
That's
long, I
not part of
guess.
your 3 minutes. Now
That-
start.
Thank you.
Okay.
If I take 3 minutes, I've gone way too long. Michael Clark, 6750 Hillcrest Plaza, Suite 215, Dallas, 75230. I'm here representing Maple Group Limited and Cross Engineering. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I guess probably most importantly, I would like to request a continuation until your September 19th meeting. We have some, I won't call them issues or anything. We have some contractual obligations between the two parties that we need to work out and would prefer that the zoning take place at a slightly later date if y'all would be so accommodating.
Okay.
As I said, I'm happy to answer any questions.
So public hearing, but no action. Okay, so this will be the public hearing and we will take no action on the zoning case. On the ordinance 2022-20. No action on that. But will we have to hold another public hearing?
No, that's why we do the public hearing now.
All right, so that is the public hearing. Public hearing is no one else. It is closed at 8:05 p.m. And we will take no action on caption only reading or such like that and go on to item number 15. Do we need to vote on taking no action?
Nope.
Okay. Consideration to approve zoning case P 22-266. Nathan?
Mayor Council, Nathan, Community Development Department. Staff, I might do a quick preface here is that staff actually has 5 different text amendments that we were going to bring before you. However, we're just going to hold because we had noticed all of these, we want to hold the public hearing on all of them. But these first 2 that I'm going to present to you are the ones that I would like for your consideration. And because we knew it was a very long meeting, we were just wanted to hold the public hearing and we'll bring those other ones to you at a later date. This was all staff driven. There's no reason for us to move forward no one's waiting on these text changes to actually occur at this particular time. So before you today, we would like to change sections 50-33 and 50-34 of the code and ordinances to increase the notification area for public hearings. As staff heard yourselves say a couple months ago that you were interested in looking at increasing the notification area to increase the public's understanding of what might be changing around them. And so this is staff's solution to that. What we have proposed to you today is to increase the public notification area to 300 feet from the existing 200-foot notification area around the parcel of land. Again, 300 feet is a very subjective number. We looked at some other cities. Other cities that I've been accustomed to is they've gone to 300 feet. 300 feet kind of is a distance that will take you from one parcel to the next door neighbor and potentially across the street to another neighbor. So it expands that number of blocks that are being notified. So that's kind of the number and the reason behind it. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, what that is, we've increased it to a football field. Just 300 feet. Football field, so people then will be able to get the notification, and this includes still putting the sign up, correct?
That is correct, ma'am.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is to conduct a public hearing for case P 22-266. It is now 8:07 PM. Is there anyone signed up to speak?
No one signed up to speak.
Okay. Is there anyone who didn't sign up that would like to speak on this? Okay. All right, and we're going to close the public hearing at 8:08 PM. And we are not taking a motion to read by caption only, or we are?
No, we
We
are
are on
taking
this one.
action on this one.
Okay, it wasn't
please.
this one. I'll entertain a motion to read by caption only on first reading ordinance number 2022-25. I have a motion,
Motion.
discussion? Call for the vote?
Motion carries unanimously.
Doris, please read.
Ordinance number 2022-20. Not 25. 2022-25, an ordinance of the city of Tomball, Texas, amending sections 50-33 Board of Adjustments and 50-34 amendments to zoning chapter and districts, administrative procedures and enforcement of the Tomball Code of Ordinances by increasing the required notification area for public hearings.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 2022-25 on first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Nathan, I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
What is the starting point of the 300 feet?
It's the perimeter boundary of the parcel itself.
You answered my question.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Okay, call for the vote?
Motion carries unanimously.
Next item, consideration to approve zoning case P 22-268. Request by the city of Tomball to amend section 40-28 and 40-30 of the Tomball Code of Ordinance by revising the plat review application submission deadline. Nathan?
Mayor, Council, Nathan Dietrich, Community Development Department. Basically, before you, staff would like to propose a small adjustment to 40-28 and 40-30. This would allow for staff to have a little extra time to review the plats that are submitted on a monthly basis. Currently, the way that the ordinance is written, it gives approximately 1 week or 5 business days for staff to review it. Review plats that do come in. And so that sometimes, depending, we might have a light week of 1 plat or 2, but we've been known to get up and around 10 plats. And that is a lot of extra effort and I guess it limits our time to be able to do our job correctly. Now, what it doesn't do is that what we're asking for this to occur is that it's still requesting that we conduct our business within a 28 day time period. And so we are in line with what House Bill 3167 was. I'm sure you remember maybe a couple years ago when staff brought this before you, that there is a shot clock, it's called, that city or municipalities have to have a response given to a person that submits a plat. In this particular case, it's a plat or a site plan within that specified time period. Because there were municipalities that were, for lack of a better term, taking hostage of certain site plans and whatnot and languishing on their responses. And so the state stepped in and dictated these particular parameters that we had to follow. And in working with legal, that we believe what we have submitted to you and legal agrees that we are in line with state law. And all we are doing is just giving us a little bit of more breathing room and for us to be able to conduct our reviews of these particular items submitted to staff. And what we have done is that even though that in the words that are in our ordinance, we have for ease directed our applicants to a calendar that we have created. And so all these folks will be able to go to our website, know exactly when they need to submit, know when the review or the completeness check is done, and when that shot clock is triggered. And then by the time from that time on, it will go to the next Planning and Zoning Commission meeting and then judged or approved or denied or approved with conditions at that particular time. And so that's one of the main reasons why. And then also there is an opportunity for if the applicant wants to waive their 30-day action, we have also generated a form for them to sign if they are interested. Just it tells them or tells us that they have acknowledged the fact that they don't need to be heard within that 30 days. But then on top of that, this waiver only gives an additional 30 days for us to respond to them by. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. Well, now we'll do the public hearing, then we'll have discussion.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item on the agenda is to conduct a public hearing for case 22-268. It is now 8:14 p.m. and we are opening the public hearing. Is there anyone signed up?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anyone who hasn't signed up that wants to speak on this zoning changing? Okay. Hearing no one, and then we're closing public hearing at 8:15. And I will entertain a motion to read by caption only on first reading, ordinance number 2022-23.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Call for the vote. Oh, discussion. Call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously. Ordinance number 2022-23, an ordinance of the city of Tomball, Texas, amending its code of ordinances by amending section 40-28, application for preliminary plat approval, and 40-30, application for final plat approval of Article 2, procedure for submission of plats of Chapter 40 subdivisions, providing for severability, providing for a penalty of an amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of violation of any provision hereof, making findings of fact and providing for other related matters.
Okay, and now we'll entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 2022-23 on first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Any questions or anything else anyone would like to say?
So the goal is to get it done before 30 days.
It still is and will always be. Yes, sir.
Call for the vote. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
No, if you have a
I
question.
heard all this P and Z, so it's okay.
I guess the alternative is to hire more people.
Yeah, to keep that low service fees.
Let's call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay.
Now, sir, if I could please the council, is that Doris, is there anyone here to speak on any of the remainder items?
I have no one signed up to speak on 17, 18, or 19.
So if it might make things go a little bit quicker if we did all three of them together, especially since we're not going to be presenting the item at this particular time. So if we could do that option, that'd be
Is
great.
is it okay? Or do then we can do all three together. So next item then is it's the public hearing for item number P22267, P22-269, and P22-270. These are, do we need to read the zoning cases? People will know that this is, first one is a consideration for the zoning case for approval, preliminary plat approval, and for the Tomball Code of Ordinance by revising the plat review submission. We just did that. Also by revising the plat review submission, ordinance 2022.
Okay, you want me to read them?
I guess so.
Okay. Public hearing will be held for zoning case P22-267, a request by the city of Tomball to amend sections 40-65 streets specific standards of the Tomball Code of Ordinances by adding or revising the right-of-way widths for roadway classifications. Zoning case P22-269, request by the city of Tomball to amend chapter 40, article 3, subdivision design standards of the Tomball Code of Ordinance by adding sections to address driveway approaches and related requirements to include separation requirements and access management standards. And zoning case P22-270, a request by the city of Tomball to amend section 40-74, lots, general provisions, and 40-75 minimum lot sizes of the Tomball Code of Ordinances by adding, revising regulations pertaining to lot sizes. I have no one signed up for any of these zoning cases.
So we will open the public hearings on all three of those at 8:20. Hearing no one that wants to, anyone would like to talk on any of those three items that did not sign up? We're closing the public hearings on all three items at 8:21. These are just public hearings only. There are no votes that we'll be doing. So that's 17, 18, and 19. Item 20 is to certify the tax docs. Catherine.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the first item in the process of adopting the 2022 property tax rate. So per chapter 26 of the property tax code, we are required to submit to the governing body the certified estimate of the taxable value, the estimated collection rate for tax year 2022, and the draft calculations that were provided by the tax office. So right now, we are not asking for any adoption of anything. This is just for informational purposes. We are anticipating to receive the certified roll from HCAD at the end of August. So, and then going into September, we will have the tax rate calculations, the finalized, to consider for adoption. If there's any questions, I could dive into some numbers, but I don't think anyone wants that at this point.
And council is asked to approve resolution 2022-39, acknowledging receipt of these items.
So I will, thank you, Catherine. I will entertain a motion to approve resolution number 22-39, a resolution of the city of Tomball, Texas, acknowledging receipt of the 2022 certified estimated taxable value, the 2022 certification of estimated collection rate from the Harris County Tax Assessor Collector, and the 2022 tax rate calculation worksheet as calculated by the Harris County Tax Assessor Collector based on certified estimated taxable value and related information and containing related provisions. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Do we have a number of the taxable value?
We do have a number. The estimated taxable value that was submitted is a little over $2.6 billion.
How does that compare against last year?
Compared to last year, it's an increase of 14.5%. So there was a considerable amount of new properties added to the tax roll, plus increases in taxable values.
Yes.
All right, so call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Item 21.
Mayor and Council, this item was requested by 2 council members to be put back on the agenda. You remember, we considered this. This came about to be to add a little bit more regulation to our fireworks application and management.
Joe? Are you presenting this?
Actually.
Well,
Entertaining.
Okay,
This is my fault. I'll take full credit for this. My next door neighbor came to me when I saw him the last week and told him that they passed the ordinance on fireworks and that sparklers were going to have to be coming in front of the city council to be able to be approved. And he wasn't a happy little camper. And so I told him, I said, well, we're going to have a meeting on this Monday night. I don't see him here to argue his case at all. So he said he could defend having sparklers. So we're sustaining safe sparklers like that. But again, he's not here to defend himself. So I've wasted y'all's time.
thought we approved sparklers.
Yeah.
If
It's on page
So,
3 of
listen.
4 of policy.
Please keep in mind what this was intended
Yeah.
to do. Based on the ordinances, the intention behind the ordinance is to make the fireworks illegal within the city limits for anyone other than ones that come to council. That is the avenue in which they are doing now with the special events applications, is to do that. We can go back and make those amendments to take sparklers out of the definition. However, as of right now, that text amendment has not been directed. And you did mention it. The intention behind it was to allow for the avenue for someone to come in, such as Boxwood Manor, which they have done so already, and ask for basically a variance to the ordinance from the council, and then which would give the direction for the fire department to look at avenues for them to have. In this case, much like I spoke with City Manager Escobar about, we would do an annual permit. They would come in January or now and do an annual permit to go along with all their other permits that they have on the property. And one of those would be specifically for sparklers only through the fireworks. Ordinance.
So they have come in and that
They
is
have
part
not,
of what
no,
we
ma'am.
adopted?
They have not.
No. Okay.
Their contracted provider has asked for an aerial fireworks show in November. I am advising him now the way in which it is to happen. Here's the application. We would bring that to you and either recommend approval or denial, of course, based on weather conditions at the time, so on and so forth.
But I thought we'd already put in there, no aerial fireworks within 500.
They would still have to pull the application to us where we would turn around and say, hey, this is within 500 feet of a livestock area, which livestock is.
And council did approve an addition after the 500 feet of a property line where livestock are present to include the requirement that sparklers shall not be approved or permits shall be revoked if the Keach Byram drought index is above 625.
Yes, that's the way I understood it. that they
Correct,
weren't
which-
Allowed unless that.
Right, and that was added and it has been incorporated into the policy and disseminated throughout the city staff.
But there's no way they can go off within 500 foot.
Correct. There is, that is in there with the variances for if y'all were to do this annual permit. If you were to approve that as the governing body, we would issue it, but at the time that we hit 625 on the KBDI, we would then notify Boxwood Manor or anyone else that has an annual fireworks permit that the Keach Bynum is above 625 and all fireworks of any kind are 2.6.
So this annual permit still says no shooting fireworks within 500 feet of.
Correct.
Manor.
Yes, ma'am. No, absolutely. It would.
So
That it would be for the sparklers only. So basically there would be the annual fireworks permit, which we don't have a separate line just for sparklers. We would have in the notes section, it was only for sparklers, not for aerial fireworks. So that it would be able to be displayed on the property.
But isn't that what it says now? That they can do sparklers unless the drought index is.
What it
Above that line?
currently says in this one section, a written proposal must accompany the application. The proposal should include the overall event concept, location, a detailed site map, hours of fireworks show, type of fireworks show, aerial or ground effects. This does not constitute a permit from the fire marshal's office. Aerial fireworks shooting sites shall not be within 1,000 feet of a structure on an abutting property or within 500 feet of a lot line where livestock are present. And sparklers shall not be approved or permits shall be revoked if the Keach Bynum drought index is above 625.
That gives council the authority to be able to approve the sparklers, steering around the definition of a firework.
How are these other places getting notified about this?
They are the only ones who have ever asked for it. In my 6 years as a fire marshal, we had 3 shows. We had the patriotic show at the high school, the one that we had the other night with Tomball Night, and then our show that we put on as a city for 4th of July. Other than that, we have never had another area ask for fireworks shows. However, with the addition of all of these subdivisions, a lot of subdivisions like to put on a private fireworks show for their folks within their subdivision. This gives them the avenue to ask council to be able to do that.
Is everyone clear on what the ordinance says?
It's a policy. It's not an ordinance. It's
Policy.
an administrative policy.
So we can add the provision of the annual permit for sparklers, so that way they don't have to come in every single time for a permit. Of course, it excludes whenever the drought conditions. Yes, right.
So that changed, right? Because Councilman Parr and I voted against taking the sparklers out of the rule.
Out
So-
completely, yes.
So now they're in, and you can do them.
But there are conditions.
Only if you all approve those and the KBDI is below 625.
You're good with that?
I am going to do what our council asks me to do.
No, Joe, explain what you told me about how hot they were. and
At
why you
2,000
were against it.
degrees, let's just say, I'm only giving an example. Some of this is, yes, somewhat speculation. Former Fire Chief Park can certainly back me up on this. In our drought conditions we have right now, if one of these weddings is to have a sparkler out there anywhere, this could be next door property to a house. They set that sparkler down, it burns at 2,000 degrees. I have a video, if y'all are willing to watch it, that actually provides a little insight to it. It's 1 minute and 16 seconds long, which I like to see. It's from the Texas State Fire Marshal and Texas Department of Insurance.
I've got time.
I'm fine.
Yeah,
As long as y'all are
16
okay with it. I know it's a very long meeting.
Yes.
Sasha, you know,
We've
if
got
you don't
16 seconds. They're retired. Go.
I'm retired.
mind. I'm here as long as y'all need.
Is it up
And
there?
the next item.
Here we go.
The thing that's different about a Verbo vacation home, you always have the whole place to yourself.
I didn't want to pay for the download, so we have to watch the commercial. The dinosaur. The fire marshal's office picked it for their deal 3 years ago to show what sparklers have the ability to do. They actually account for 1/3 of all injuries
Okay, so
involving
it's actually
fireworks.
not a surprise to us in the industry. That's
I'm sure that Ms. Elise has more to say about it, but they account for 1/3 of the injuries. Let's take, for instance, next door to Councilman Dunnigan. If one of these individuals having the sparkler at 2,000 degrees drops it within their dry grass area, it has the possibility to affect his property. Same thing for residential subdivision. If they're standing on the driveway, they can certainly affect the property next door. One house catches on fire, we have a 10-foot gap in between. There's certainly a possibility of fire occurring in another property, not just the ones that had the sparklers. So in my professional opinion, no, they shouldn't be allowed. But again, I'm going to do whatever council directs me to do.
How do we need to rephrase this to outlaw the sparklers completely? Because I went by and thanked him for all he did on this, and then the next day I'm calling, changing it. So.
Well, currently the policy has the addition of that one sentence, sparklers shall not be approved pending the drought index. If you want to remove sparklers, you can say sparklers shall not be approved, period. You can remove the B, you can change that sentence.
You can also take the ability to approve on a case-by-case basis.
Aren't there some type of sparklers that burn hotter than others?
I'm sure that there are. The ones that you have a difference between your wood and your metal sparklers. Most of the ones that are sold today have a metal end on them and do burn hotter than those with the wood.
Just my property.
Okay.
Okay.
So do we want to keep the ordinance as it stands, approving them, or do we want to put a heat index on the sparklers, or just do an application where it's case by case by case?
Which is essentially the way it is.
Last time was sufficient. There's risks in everything we do in life.
Yes, sir.
You know, you look at how kids are today and everything else. I shouldn't be here. I beat the damn odds. And are we going to continue to do this as a government for our kids and other people? I think we're getting carried away. I really do. I've said everything I'm going to say.
So we do not have a case by case application. at
As of
this
right
time.
now, yes, ma'am. It is
We
a
do.
case-by-case application. It will be brought in and then we have the avenue to deny in the event of the drought index being high.
But I
So we-
thought you said it annual.
Right now, I would recommend for Boxwood to have an annual permit that we would again pull in the event of the drought index
But
being
that's
too
just the
high.
drought index always need to be pulled.
Yes, that is correct.
Not the heat of the sparklers.
Correct. The sparklers would be allowed if council granted them the ability to have a permit. Yes.
And right now they're allowed as long as it's not a drought.
Right. If council approved the annual permit, that is correct. That would be coming, that would come to you to approve on an individual basis.
And that's part of the ordinance.
Correct.
Part of the
That's a part of the
policy.
administrative policy, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we've had discussion. Is there any changes that we need to bring?
So in this policy, it states that they can have a yearly permit.
It does not. That would be the compromise for a venue such as Boxwood Manor or one of those.
Right now, the policy says that they could have sparklers flowing KBI.
Is below 625, yes, sir.
And
And council approval. That is the avenue for council to approve that.
And we're telling them that, or they're.
We have not
applying-
conferenced with
They're
anyone else.
applying for every time they're gonna do fireworks.
There, anytime they want to do an aerial show, it will have to be approved by council within 90 days of the show.
Okay, then there is no additional action that needs to be taken on that item.
If no
So
changes
discussion.
desired, no action needs to be taken.
Okay, and there are no changes to take, correct? All right, item 21. Next item is agenda to authorize the city manager to execute a purchase order with Impact Promotional Services doing business as Gotcha Covered Workout Wear and Uniform for Public Safety Uniform to the Buy Board Cooperating Purchase Network Contract 670-22 in the amount not to exceed $115,000 and approving the associated expenditures of funds. Joe.
So what has gotten us to this particular item tonight, this does not increase the budget, this does not change the budget. Between the police department and the fire department, we have collectively, through uniform wear tests and so on, collected the same uniform and decided to go to the same uniform. The only difference that you would see is the patches on our shoulders and the difference in the belts and the equipment that we carry. What we have tonight is to allow us to go above that $50,000 with one single vendor, which is by purchasing policy. The appropriate way is to come to you for that approval. Currently, we are just over, there's one PO that puts us just over the $50,000 mark. However, with the changes in the ISD contract, possible changes in ESD contracts and further purchases could push us closer to, this is allowing us to be able to go to them for up to $115,000, and that is combined out of the police department and the fire department's budget.
Okay. All right, I will entertain a motion to authorize the city manager to execute the purchase order with Impact Promotional Services, amount not to exceed $115,000 and approving the associated expenditure of funds.
Motion.
Discussion.
So much for goals.
We spent way too much money. Galls was our former provider. We had spent an exorbitant amount of money with one single provider years ago, and it also, this also brings it back in, on the fire department side, of course, only, to where we are more in control of the expended funds.
I noticed you've got a purchase order sheet in there for each individual.
Yes, so those individual, the two, I think they were out of order by mistake, but one of those shows you what it takes to outfit one police officer just with uniforms. That does not include weapon, does not include any ammunition, anything that goes into their holsters and so on, because everyone is going to be different. For the fire department, obviously, we're a little bit cheaper with our uniforms, but we do truly wear the same thing head to toe, with the exception of their gun belt and so on.
Okay. Any other discussion? Let's call for the vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, we are now, the next item on the agenda is executive session where we will consult with the city attorney regarding a matter which the attorney's duty requires to be discussed in closed session. When we come back, there will be no action.
Oh, yeah, and deliberation regarding this.
And deliberation regarding security devices. When we come back, though, we will not be taking any vote, correct?
Correct.
And so y'all are welcome to stay till we come back to watch us adjourn. But this is it. We're not going to be discussing or taking any vote. So, bye. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming. And it is now 8:40 and we're going into executive session. I sincerely hope there's something to eat for dinner. filled it out. It's yours. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Adjourn, second, all in favor, say. Opposed, same sign. And Randy's gonna be the school board monitor. He's gonna clean all the erasers.